And we are live. Welcome to the process. It is Tuesday, January 11th. I'm Josh Engleman, and I am here to break down a 6-game NBA slate. This one's pretty easy. I think it was supposed to be 5, but today it's officially 6. Very easy to manage. So far through the start of this week, pretty easy. 7 games yesterday, 6 today. Didn't go well in 7, but maybe it'll go a little bit better in 6. Before we do anything, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Head on over to Twitter and follow me at Josh Engleman. Good morning to everybody. Good to see everybody in chat. I got some coffee cups, got some donuts. We're going to get this one started. This is going to be, we've got plenty of time to work our way through it. We've got fresh rotations like we did for yesterday. Just going to dive in and talk some NBA. It's a great time in the league calendar. We get Golden State back today. Golden State and Memphis. Ramsey, I woke up like this. And I'm not kidding. That's not even a joke. This is how I woke up. So it's like half bedhead on one side, half just combed on the other side. But yeah, this is just how I woke up. My hat wasn't next to me when I started, and I didn't care enough to go find it. So, yeah, this is bedhead for me today. I'll take what I can get. Appreciate having you. Let's get some tunage on in the background. Let's get our intro out of the way. So, let's do this. I've got my coffee. It is very necessary once again today. Dragging a little bit. Went to bed a little bit later than I really wanted to. Don't know why. It's not like I had a sweat. But we're here to talk a little hoops, and I think we should probably get it started. So, rise and grind, everybody. That's where we're at. It's rise and grind time. I've got my coffee. Grab whatever you got this morning. Any drinks, any non-drinks, whatever you got. Cheers to you guys. Good morning. Let's get it done today. That right there is a perfect cup of coffee. I'm very happy. The only thing that makes me happier is Prize Picks. Go to awesemo.com/prize picks-promo. Get all the details that you could possibly be looking for, including 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, a deposit bonus at Prize Picks. We've got a free Prize Picks tool on the website that will help you pick all of the player props you want. You're building parlay cards. You don't have to worry about optimizers or sharks. You hit 5 of your props in one card, you get up to 10x your entry fee. You can't really beat the deal we've got going on. So go check it out now at Prize Picks or at awesemo.com/prize picks-promo. You can see it on the banner at the top of the screen. Harry Monster, it is very true. It is hard not to enjoy the first sip of coffee. I've been slurping my coffee into this microphone for coming up on 4 years now. We're getting dangerously close. Well, I mean, if we're being technical, it's been 4 years of me doing content. Coming up on 4 years at Awesemo, which is wild to think about. March of 2018 is the official start, so we're about 2 months away. Basically, we're about a month away from me being fully fed up and applying. But 2 months away from the official start. It has been a ride, and I couldn't be happier to be here. So let's dive in the way that we know best. Oklahoma City Thunder 9-point underdogs. Yeah, Ramsey, that's crazy, right? Doesn't feel like it's been that long, but it has been that long. 2018. It's crazy. I've been here. COVID is like longer than the amount of time where we haven't had COVID. Rashad, good to have you. Yeah, it's been a journey. Did I close the depth chart? Apparently I did. Let's do that. It's been a long time, man. But yeah, like right now, I would have been doing my own personal streams. Philip, those were the good old days. I try to bring something like that back for baseball through the summer. Maybe we have to figure out a way to do the process show without it being like the same sort of thing, because for the most part I'm just copying and pasting player lineups. But maybe we could break it down and dig into pitchers or something like that. Maybe we'll test that out if I'm covering baseball this year. Good morning. Here we go. OKC. Lou Dort is back. Kenrich Williams is out. Isaiah Roby is out. I don't get the sense. Yeah, Dre every day. I mean, this is a very different time in DFS in 2017. Michael Voltaire, would you be making more money if you were doing your own show? I would say maybe, but I would also be working infinitely harder, and I wouldn't have the same sort of benefit structure. Like, I've got a really good gig, without disclosing a lot of what happens on the back end. Like, I've got a really good, well-paying job that was comparable at the time to the industry that I was in and has since grown. So I could not be happier there. We have full legitimate benefits across the board. Everything that you could ask for, we have. So that right there is just enough where, like, could I grind out more money on my own by just like putting out content on my own schedule and opening up a Patreon? Maybe. Probably not, but it would be pretty close. That would all just come down to how much I wanted to actually work. Do I remember Fantasy 5x5? Yeah, I missed that site, man. There were a lot of good little details there. I still have my login. It works. I don't really think that we have all that much to change here for Oklahoma City. Like, this is a team that's pretty set in their ways. We've got Josh Giddey's minutes. We've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's minutes. We've got Aaron Wiggins' minutes, who didn't play as many as you would have expected last time out. But, we're only ever going to play Giddey, Shai, and Dort for the most part, right? Who else would we play? Oh, yeah, I got to take Kenrich Williams off, I guess. I mean, it still exists at the beginning of this past year. I don't really know what happened. All right, so if I got to replace Kenrich Williams, who would I do that with? Scala, Favors. I guess we would do something like this. We would get Derek Favors on the floor for 15 minutes. We'd get Muscala on the floor for 14 minutes. We'd give Poku 16, Baisley 26. Another one for Trey Van. Yeah, I don't really have too much to say here for Oklahoma City. They have kind of just become super uninteresting. I've been looking at PBP stats on off metrics in lieu of Wowie over the past day or two, so I'm a little interested here. Let's see. When Shai, Dort, and Giddey all play, let's get just correct usage rates in here, and then we're going to be good. Yeah, I am a different person without a hat, I think. Shea's got a 27.5% usage rate, which is basically exactly where I have it right now. Dort is at 22.3, Giddy 21.1. So I don't even really have to change this. What I have in here right now appears to be the rates that I'm going to use. Darius Baisley, actually, 18% usage rate when those guys are on the floor. I am going to bring that one down. Philip, you still want to worry about ownership there? Yeah, I think I'm covered here. There's not really any major changes. So that's going to be Oklahoma City. No sense in doing more than we need to. For Washington, what do we know about the Wizards for today? Montrezl Harrell is in. Thomas Bryant and Anthony Gill are still out. So this should be pretty standard issue Washington Wizards stuff. And obviously, we're always happy when it's easy. So let's see what we get here. Most of this should be pretty easy. We've got Dinwiddie in for 29. We're going to bump that up to 30. Neto played a little bit more. I'm going to go 26-22 on the center minutes. Gafford and Harrell. Then KCP is in for 30. That makes sense. Kuzma in for 34. I'm actually going to make that 35 on Kuz. I've got Denny in for 23. That doesn't appear to be the case. Aaron Holiday wasn't in the rotation. Oh, shit. I got to bring Rui back, too. Okay. That makes sense. Aaron Holiday didn't play the last game. Rui Hachimura did. I'm going to give Rui 14 minutes here. It looks like Corey Kispert still maintained in the rotation. This was Sunday. Let's actually look at this. I think this matters. So we can throw out Monroe's rotation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so they went to a 10-man rotation, and that's sort of what I'm expecting here again. So nothing too crazy. I've got 10 in. We go to 24 on Neto. Was there a reason he played as much as he did? Picked up this extra rotation here because Rui was only playing short bursts. Gafford didn't close due to foul trouble in the first half. That doesn't matter at all given the current scenario. So everything else was normal. We did get the staggered rotation out of Dinwiddie, which is important. But I think I'm fine with the rotation that we have in here, other than maybe reducing Kispert, bumping Denny. Oh, Bertans is back too. Oh my God. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Well, I got to get Bertans on there as well. I'm going to say that Bertans plays like 14 minutes. That means that Kuzma's got to go down a bit. So now I need to cut 21 minutes from this team, which I'm going to be honest, doesn't make a ton of sense. Does Rui play the 5? Who doesn't see the floor? Who's most likely to not play? Who was the last man on? Kispert was the last man on. All right, I'm going to say that Corey Kispert leaves the rotation now. That seems like it could happen. But I still have 5 minutes to lose. Maybe it's just that. Maybe it's 19 to Neto. Weird rotation here for Washington. Now let's look at rates. I'm not so sure this one matters all that much. Let's see. when Beal and Dinwiddie play, what do we get? Because really all I'm worried about is usage, since they have everybody in now. When Beal's in with Dinwiddie, 30.5% usage rate. When Dinwiddie is in along with Beal, nope, that's Kuzma. 19% usage rate. Kuzma's at 20.3. Montrezl Harrell is at 21. So, like, I don't even really have anything else I want to change here. It's not like I want to change Gafford or anything. So, I think Washington's fine, too. Easy rotation, or easy first game, I guess, even though we're already 13 minutes in. So let's start here. Let's refresh this table. Let's check out game number 1. OKC 9-point dogs, 216 total. No majorly big totals. Everything's kind of bunched together today. CG, good morning. Jeremy, good morning. All right, so on Oklahoma City, I think we would be fine going to Shea. We would be fine going to Giddey across both sites. And then $5,200 Lou Dort on DraftKings is a little bit more interesting than he is on FanDuel. You can make a case for Baisley or Earl on DK as well. So that's game number 1 down. Let's go to Phoenix, which I get a sneaky suspicion should be pretty easy too. I don't think they've got anything going on. No Cam Johnson, still no Kaminsky, Abdel Nader, Ish Wainwright, Justin Jackson. Landry Shamet is probable. So Cam Johnson leaving is important, but also not all that important. So let's clear out the weirdest parts of their rotation, and then we'll start from there. Actually, let's clear out everything in this rotation and start from there. So we will kick it off with DeAndre Ayton, who came back on Saturday, played 32 minutes. He's just going to get 32 minutes. I'm going to say that Jalen Smith is the straight... Oh, actually, they have JaVale back now. So that'll be interesting. Did they go to JaVale or Jalen Smith first? Oh, wait, I did skip Washington. You're right. Good eye, SMP. For Washington, it's not great. 6K Spencer Dinwiddie on DraftKings is all right. You can play the Montrezl Harrell lottery if you think he's going to play a couple extra minutes. They look really, really bad. So you were right there. All right, so Washington's most recent game against Orlando. Why am I looking up Washington now? I'm out of it, guys. Phoenix is the team we're looking for. Phoenix. And we had JaVale come off the bench before Jalen Smith, although they came on for different people. JaVale came on for Ayton. Jalen Smith came on for Mikal Bridges, and then basically didn't play all that much, and then played garbage time. So, yeah, I'm just going to give JaVale the backup center run like normal. We've already got Chris Paul in for 33 minutes. Toronto, so let's make it 34. And we'll say backup point guard run goes to Campaign. Campaign also gets another 10. Devin Booker gets 35. Again, we got Ayton in for 32. We get Mikal Bridges in for 34. We've got no Cam Johnson, so then we get Jay Crowder in for probably, 30? That makes the most sense. Landry Shamet is back. Shamet was playing with no Ayton, no Crowder. He was playing about 24 minutes a game. Seems likely that he plays about 23 here. So that leaves me 12. Ninth man into the rotation, we'll say, is Justin Jackson. Don't think that this decision point matters at all. Could just as easily be Jalen Smith, but who knows? As for rates, I don't think that I'm changing anything. You know, this is a team that isn't all that different. You know, they've got their normal people in games where Paul plays, Booker plays, and DeAndre Ayton plays. We've got Bridges with a 14.5% usage rate. We're good there. Booker, 30.6. We're good there. Chris Paul, 20.4. Ayton, 20.5. Wow, DeAndre Ayton's got a 20% usage rate when Paul, Booker, and Ayton all play. So I'm going to give that a little bit of a bump. I don't really think I need to change anything else. Everything else looks pretty good to me. So that's Phoenix. These rotations have been pretty good so far, and as long as nothing crazy has happened to Toronto in the past day, I assume they are also about to be incredibly easy to project. All right, so Q-tag on Gary Trent, Q-tag on Scotty Barnes. Those are things that we definitely don't want, but this rotation is just going to hold. Like, whatever I have in here from the previous game, that's just what it's going to be. 36 minutes for Van Vliet. That looks fine. Gary Trent didn't play on Sunday, so that is a relevant piece of information, but I don't think it's actionable for this particular moment. Scotty Barnes in for 35. I'm going to make that 34. I got OG Anunoby in for 35. I'm okay with that. I've got Siakam in for 37. In theory, I can make that 38. We had Boucher, Achua, and Khem Birch play a little bit more than they normally do together, but I think that only happens if somebody ends up out, in this case, Gary Trent. So, yeah, I think Toronto's rates are just the same. I'm going to check Toronto out with some normal Siakam, Van Vliet, Anunoby, Trent, and Scotty Barnes. When you have at least 3 of them playing in the game. Sorry, at least 4 of them playing in the game. Just to get an idea on usage, because this is a team where that could be pretty tricky when it comes to usage, but I don't think it will be. Van Vliet, 24.5% usage rate this season. Let's bump that up. Scotty Barnes, 18.6. Gary Trent, 19.75. Siakam, 25.5. OG Anunoby, 22. And then I guess I need Chris Boucher's as well, 19.4. That right there is your Toronto Raptors already set. I agree. Shout out Nick Nurse. So for Phoenix, this is a great game too at 7:30. 2 great games. Phoenix, Toronto is a fun game to want to watch. Golden State, Memphis. Whew. All right, so for Phoenix, no standout options here. It's Booker, Paul, Bridges, Ayton, Crowder. Like, you can't really sift through that. I'd say Paul, Ayton, and Crowder are the 3 guys I like the most. In particular, Crowder for 3,900 on DraftKings is just a really nice value with no Cam Johnson available. But again, like, nobody's a crazy good value. Now we're getting to that. Scotty Barnes is 5,600 on FanDuel. I really like that price tag. OG Anunoby and Gary Trent are 6,300 and 5,300 on DraftKings. Both of those numbers look good. I think Siakam looks good for 9,200 on DraftKings. Unfortunately, still just center eligible. And while I understand how good Fred VanVleet has been playing as of late, I'm not entirely sure that I can project him that way. 1.43 FanDuel points per minute over the last 30 days. Can I set a time span? No. I cannot. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, look, you're always fine playing some of the starters for Toronto. For right now, though, I just feel like Fred VanVleet is overpriced and a little bit difficult to get to. I'm not sure how you project Pascal Siakam all that differently than Fred VanVleet right now. Now, different positions for sure, but that's a big tag on Fred. We'll see where we end up as we get closer to lock. Golden State and Memphis. Great to have Klay Thompson back. Don't totally know how this is all going to play out for Golden State as we move forward, but it is great to have him back. By the way, 100 and something viewers, 59 likes. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't done it already. Great to have you guys. Yeah, James Jones, he has been going crazy as of late. I just don't think that that's something you can change projections for. All right, Golden State Warriors. I definitely don't have Klay in this last run, so let's gut this. We know that there's no Draymond, which is interesting. No Gary Payton, and no Otto Porter. Or, sorry, questionable tag on Gary Payton, questionable tag on Otto Porter. Come Bucket, Moses Moody are both in the G League. So we're going to start with Steph. We're going to say Steph's playing 36 minutes. And the backup point guard run we'll deal with second. We're going to say we saw Klay come back, play 20 minutes. I'm going to say that he plays 22 in this one. We saw Jordan Poole play 24 minutes here. That seems to be about what we're going to get. We've got Kevon Looney against Memphis and Steven Adams. You know, like 26 minutes feels about right here. We get like 14 out of Bielitsa. And then who else is going to be playing center in theory for this team? Could really be anybody, I guess. Doesn't really matter, these distinctions, when we get down to like the 4s and 5s on this particular team. So let's say that it's Juan Toscano-Anderson for 8 minutes there. And then another 8 minutes there. That gets him. No, we'll go 10. That gets him to 18. Otto Porter minutes are around 24 in a dream scenario. Let's slot that in. Iggy's also around 24 when he's healthy, which he appears to be right now. So let's go 24 there. We'll go 24 to Otto Porter. That leaves us 52 minutes. Damian Lee didn't play the last time out. Gary Payton did. He's been playing about 20. So let's give him 18 there. Oh, yeah, and we still have to give Wiggins minutes. 18, 16, there's 34 for Wig. I think that all looks about right. Now, Golden State will be a little bit different with, I guess, no Draymond on the floor. So let's check that out. So let's get no Draymond. So we have a couple games now where Draymond didn't play. All right, that's probably enough. All right, that's just this year. Games where Draymond did not play. We've got Steph, 32% usage. So that's about where I'm at. Wait, exactly 0 Draymond Green. Oh, exactly 1 of Draymond Green. That makes sense. Now that makes those totals make a lot more sense. So Steph's only played 75 minutes without Draymond this year. Usage rate actually goes down without Draymond on the floor, which is really interesting. Very, very, very interesting. But I don't really think that we need that sort of view right now. Let's just take Draymond off and see if there's any wholesale changes. Why is this so zoomed in now? Not ideal. Super not ideal. All right, so Steph, usage rate, 33%. Yeah, we're just going to keep that. I don't know if anybody's really going to change all that much. Like, Steph's assist rate doesn't change, really. Iguodala's does, I guess. Andre Iguodala with a monster assist rate with no Draymond Green on the floor. I'm willing to give him that bump. Oh, that's actually his rebounding rate. Yeah, all of these little rates have moved around the screen a little bit. Now it's throwing me off. Yeah, I don't really think that I have anything that I want to change here. Apparently, a little bit of extra usage to Andrew Wiggins. In games that Draymond hasn't played, 139 minutes, Andrew Wiggins has a 32% usage. Why would that go up? Why would Andrew Wiggins see such a... It's got to just be like an outlier here. It doesn't make a ton of sense. 32% usage. Even if I just switch from Draymond did not play to Draymond on, or Draymond off, we get Wiggins 299 minutes, 27% usage rate. I'm going to take that usage rate seriously, at least a little bit, and bump that up. Jordan Poole as well, gets into like the 28 range with no Draymond on the floor. What if I actually put Steph on then too? Because I think that's really the biggest issue. So even when Steph is on, we get Wiggins in 140 minutes, 24.5% usage rate. That's fine. Jordan Poole's only played 60 minutes with Draymond off and Steph on. Usage rate does come down, but nothing really changes for Steph. I think we're fine here. I think we're totally fine here. We don't really have a ton of rates to change, and as per usual, Golden State doesn't look very good. Now, Memphis is going to be a bit of a journey here, because I haven't played a Memphis slate with Dillon Brooks out again, and that is going to make Ja Morant look big time. At least he has recently. So we're going to start with Ja. We're going to say he's playing 33 minutes. We'll hit the opposite end of this one and go to Steven Adams, who is questionable now coming out of the COVID protocols. And I think we just assume that Steven Adams plays like 26 minutes. And then I'm giving Brandon Clark. Oh, man, I don't even know. Let's go the other direction first. We get Desmond Bane. He played 29 minutes and 26 minutes the last two. That doesn't feel like what we're going to normally get. So I'm giving 32 minutes straight to Bane. Jaren Jackson seems like a 29-minute projection is just like what he deserves now. So we're going to need to give Brandon Clark minutes. We saw Zaire Williams play 27 the last time out. His minutes have been up as of late. Kyle Anderson came back after 4 games out, played 28 minutes. Again, that was with no Adams, which I think is important. But Slow-Mo also a guy that can play like 26 minutes a game no matter what. So I'm going to pop him in for 27. The rest of this is essentially backup run. We saw John Conchar get back. Tillman came back for the first time after missing 5. And it looks like... Oh, yeah. Well, Tillman was out with no Adams. I got to look at this rotation. So this would have been Sunday, the 9th. They played the Lakers, which is important. So Tilly, Aldama, Culver, that's all phony. We can obviously give Whoops, that's not where I wanted to be. We could obviously give Tyus Jones the backup point guard minutes right out of the gate, too. So, Bane, Jackson, Morant, Kyle Anderson, Zaire Williams is the starting lineup. So, they went to Jackson at the 5, which was fine. I assume we get... who starts? Zaire Williams or Kyle Anderson? They probably start Zaire Williams over Kyle Anderson. So I'm going to say that's 26. And I'm going to give Zaire Williams 22. I'm going to give Melton a little bit more run. He played 18 minutes. Although in theory, like, I think the best that I could ever hope for him is like 22. So I'm going to give him an extra 6. That'll bump Kyle Anderson up a little bit more to the 4. And then I think we're just splitting minutes between Brandon Clark and maybe John Conchar. Because I don't think Tillman is long for the rotation. But I also don't know how many minutes. I think this is what we can do. I think we're going to go to 18 minutes on Brandon Clark. We're going to give Jaren Jackson a couple at the 4. I'm mostly going to move Slow-Mo's 26 minutes to the 4. And that's going to bring John Conchar in for 17 minutes. There we go. I like that. I like that. Well, I mildly like that. Now, this one will be big because the change for Ja Morant when... Oh, yeah, and if Adams sits, that's going to be pretty big. The change for Ja Morant with no Dillon Brooks is massive. Because we have a big sample of games like this. In games this season for Memphis where Dillon Brooks did not play, we have 1,387 possessions for Ja Morant. 1,387. That's where we stand. In those games, 33% usage rate. So, obviously, that's a pretty good one. Let's bump that bad boy up. So, we bump up that usage. Jaren Jackson. Well, actually, let's do Bane. Bane, 23.5% usage rate. Jaren Jackson, 26% usage rate. Everybody else's will come down, but those guys stay the same. Like Slow-Mo's is not all that great. Steven Adams, obviously not all that great. DeAnthony Melton doesn't really see a ton of usage, but those 3 guys do. We also want to check out assist rates. So, unfortunately, there's not an easy way for me to look at this on PBP stats. So, I need to make a quick copy or take a quick screenshot so that I could actually see the possession numbers. So Ja Morant, 134 assists in 1,387 possessions, 9.6% assist per possession rate. It's actually lower, which I'm not too surprised by. I just assume that he's shooting more, which makes sense to me. We also get Bane is 54 and 13.26. His is a little over 4%. So I'm not getting the sense that there's going to be a lot of rate changes for anybody else, at least from an assist perspective. It's mostly just that usage change. So I think that'll probably do it here. Dillon Brooks isn't affecting rebounds either. So that's our bump from Memphis. Let's check out game number 3 now. Golden State. Warriors. I like Andrew Wiggins. 6,800 on FanDuel, 6,400 on DraftKings. I can't honestly say that I like much else. Steph, to me, is overpriced. I have him projected better than he's been playing, but he's not a great play to me. I don't see much of anything for Golden State. On Memphis, Ja Morant for 8,900 is clearly very interesting. Desmond Bane for 6,500 is interesting. There are just not priorities. This is really bizarre to me. I expected way more guys to be popping today, and that's not really the case. Like, as we look at the summary for the first 3 games, like, I've got OG Anunoby on DraftKings as the best play. I don't even know if he's, like, that one scares me for sure. So does Gary Trent or Shea or Josh Giddey. Like, Josh Giddey and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander are 2 of the 4 best plays we've looked at so far in 6 teams. That's not a good slate so far. We'll see if we can mix it up now. Minnesota at the New Orleans Pelicans. And then for Minnesota, I'm hoping this is just a team that's... Well, actually, I hope they are mildly shorthanded just because of the talent they have. So Beverly is questionable. Did not play the last time out. I do want to get him back in there. I have to assume that he's playing. I mean, he has missed 2 straight, but I assume when he can play, he will play. For some... Miraculously, Jalen Noel plays less when Patrick Beverly is out, which is really hard to do. We got D'Angelo Russell in for 32 minutes. I'm actually going to make that 33. Edwards is in for 34. Towns is in for 35. Vanderbilt is in for 28. I'll make that 29. McDaniels is in for 24. I trust that enough. I'm going to 86 that. We're going to get Malik Beasley back down to 21. So that leaves me 10 minutes. I've got 10 minutes to redistribute to this team. I guess it's just really going to go back to Taurean Prince. I guess that's really the easiest thing to do here. 9 minutes to Prince. Rates should be pretty normal here. Let's get a sample of Minnesota from a usage perspective when they have most of these guys in. So that's going to be Russell, Towns, and Edwards. Let's say at least 2 of those guys played. No, actually, let's say all 3. What have we got? How big is the sample when all 3 of these guys are in? I'm guessing they got a pretty big sample at this point, right? Russell, Towns, Edwards, they probably played, I don't know, 10 games together, 12 games together. 17 maybe? That's a lot of time. That works. All right, so when all 3 guys play in the same game, Anthony Edwards has a 27% usage rate. D'Angelo Russell has a 25.8% usage rate. And Karl Anthony Towns has a 28.2% usage rate. That all looks about right to me. Beverly in those games doesn't look fantastic, nor like Vanderbilt looks fine. But that's Minnesota. I can't really see much that we want to change for Minnesota. Like, they've got a really easy rotation. They're probably priced accordingly. Now, the Pelicans appear on the surface. I don't know who's in and out, and that could change things here. But whatever I had in for the Pelicans before is popping up with a lot of value. So Josh Hart is in. I have Josh Hart in. They don't have Gary Clark anymore, right? He's on a different team? Or did they re-sign him? Not Gary Clark Jr. Gary Clark is still with the Pels. Okay. They're waiving Jared Harper. Thought so. All right, so other than Satoransky coming back, this is the normal rotation here for the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, Satoransky was in the rotation, so we're going to have to give him minutes. That shouldn't be all that tough to find. Gary Clark has been in the rotation as well. We got Joe Val in for 32. I think that's a pretty reasonable mark. Got 16 in for Jackson Hayes. That one's easy. Devontae Graham in for 34. I am going to cut that down to 32. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has been playing very little as of late in these last three. So we're going to pop him in for 18. Garrett Temple did see the boost in minutes as of late. We've got Herb Jones in for 34. Josh Hart in for 36. Brandon Ingram in for 34. I mean, Brandon Ingram needs 35. That much I know. I'm going to give Gary Clark the final 5 minutes that I need. For some reason, I gave Najee Marshall Tomas Satoransky's minutes. SMP, I actually don't think that Anthony Tolliver is on this team. I think he's somewhere else. But I think he was supposed to be there. Yeah, he might be on the Sixers. I actually don't think he's on any team, though. So, good eye. I don't really pay attention to it when I don't have to put it, like, when the guy doesn't count. Alrighty. So, that's the Pelicans. Pretty easy right now. And they've had similar rotations, so I think that we could set a pretty easy baseline of, you know, we have Joe Val in, Brandon Ingram in. Like, that's going to be the two biggest drivers of everything. So, when Ingram and Joe Val play, what do we get out of this team? Because we don't probably have too big of rates to want to change here. This is not that kind of team. When Brandon Ingram plays, he's got a 29.6% usage rate. Joe Val, 24.2. Because, like, there's not anybody I really need to take off here. It's Kira Lewis, you know? Joe Val, 24.2. Josh Hart, that's, I think, probably the easiest piece. 16% usage rate. Herb Jones does very little out there. 12% usage rate. And then Devontae Graham, 19.8. I think we found our value. Up to 81 likes, by the way. We're going to hit that 100 mark. So for Minnesota, on FanDuel, Towns, Edwards, Russell, Vanderbilt. They're all basically the same. I can't really prioritize anything. I mean, I would go probably in that order. Towns, Edwards, Russell. Or probably Towns, Russell, Edwards, Vanderbilt. On DraftKings, Edwards would be the main priority at 7,900. And I use the term priority pretty loosely. Those guys aren't diving into anything crazy. The Pelicans, on the other hand, a lot of value here. $6,300 Josh Hart, if he is in, looks really good on DraftKings. Still fine on FanDuel at $6,800. Brandon Ingram, $8K and $8,200 across both sites. Sign me up there. Herb Jones, honestly, for power forward center eligible, $5,100 on DK. Not the worst play in the world. Joe Val, $7,900 on FanDuel. Yup. $8,500 on DraftKings. Sure. Devontae Graham, more than reasonable as a value option. Minnesota added some stuff to the top of the table, but we still don't have any, like Josh Hart to me is the best play on DraftKings at this point. But I've got Scotty Barnes there on FanDuel, which is interesting. Now, it's possible somebody pops here. Detroit and Chicago. And if I remember correctly, Killian Hayes got hurt at the end of yesterday's game. I also don't have the updated. I guess maybe I could look now and see if it exists. Yeah, Basketball Reference still isn't updated with their stats for today. So I don't have my updated box score stats for today either. But let's hash out Detroit. Okay, so maybe Killian Hayes is okay. I thought he left early. So we've got no Jeremy Grant, no Kelly Olynyk, no Frank Jackson. Questionable tag on Bol. So I think that this Detroit lineup is just going to be what we normally think it is, but at the very least, we need to look at the rotation yesterday and see what they did. So Stewart, Diallo, Cunningham, Bay, Hayes. They all played normal rotations. Stewart picked up an extra rotation, I guess trying to keep it close. Yeah, seems about right. Lyles, Joseph, Josh Jackson. Cassius Stanley actually played, which is interesting. Who did he play over? They played Cassius Stanley instead of Luka Garza. Whatever. I don't think we have anything that we want to change here for the Pistons. We know who the starters are. We know who they want to close, generally speaking. I mean, if the game is competitive, I think that I'm probably under-projecting Cade Cunningham and... probably just Cade Cunningham. So I'm going to bump Cade Cunningham up to 34 minutes. But I think everything else is fine. Although, in a perfect world, they probably want Isaiah Stewart to close over Trey Lyles, but I can't guarantee that right now. I'm going to split those guys 24-24. Holy shit, I didn't realize the Pistons came back. I didn't realize they came back. I stopped paying attention once Hassan Whiteside. I thought this was blowout run because I knew they were getting blown out. That's not blowout run. They closed this way on purpose. So yeah, that 24-24 split I like a little bit more. They closed with Corey Joseph and Josh Jackson. Yeah, I knew that the Jazz were up by 22 in the first half and stopped paying attention to the outcome of this game. How the hell did the almost full-strength Jazz gack this away to the shitty Pistons? That's hard to do. That's really hard to do. All right, so that's 2 games in a row where they were willing to close Corey Joseph over Killian Hayes. I think that matters. Josh Jackson closing over Hamidou Diallo is... I don't understand that one all that much, but whatever. But I'm fine with the 34 minutes going to Cade. I don't really see anything else that I should be changing. Yeah, to me, that's it. All right, so they actually were willing to play Isaiah Stewart and Trey Lyles alongside each other, which we haven't seen. In the first half, they didn't do it, but in the second half, they did go to it. They gave up 7 points right out of the gate, got Isaiah Stewart off the floor, and they never put him back on again. Very true, Eddie. Oh, Dave, hope you're feeling okay or better or something along those lines. I hope you're not having any real problems with it, at least. I guess I have to give Josh Jackson more minutes in some way. So let's at least get him up to 22. That seems a little bit better. I'm going to roll with this now, but man, I am not comfortable with Detroit. I know the rates don't have to change. That's all in from yesterday. Chicago, on the other hand, I am very interested in taking a look at. Because they got to be pretty close to full strength. Not bowl night. Alex Caruso still out. Javonte Green still out. So this is common Chicago, right? This is just going to be the normal Bulls rotation. 34 minutes for Lonzo Ball. Check. 36 minutes for Zach LaVine. Check. 36 minutes for DeRozan. Check. 34 for Vooch. Check. We got Kobe White in for 30. We've got Dosunmu in for 20. We've got Troy Brown in for a small amount. We got Derek Jones Jr. in for a slightly bigger amount. Tony Bradley, mostly the backup. So that all works for me. We have these rates. Let's check out what Chicago looks like. We're going to have to take, I want to take Caruso off. And then we need Vooch, DeRozan, Levine, Lonzo. At least 3 of those guys playing. What do we got? Let's find this little cross section, figure out the usage for the Bulls, because I think they are in an important spot today. Zach LaVine, 771 minutes when at least 3 of the main guys started and Caruso was not on the floor. 29% usage rate. Vooch, 23.5% usage rate. DeMar DeRozan, 29.7% usage rate. Lonzo Ball, 17.6% usage rate. The next most interesting piece here is going to be Kobe White, 365 minutes in this scenario, 18.5% usage rate. And then finally, Derek Jones Jr., 13.7% usage rate. So that would be Chicago. I actually feel like I need to look at assist rates. So we need to take a little snapshot again. And I need to send an email to try to get possessions added to this table. So now we've got possessions. Let's look at assist rates. So we'll start with Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine, 95 assists in 1,593 possessions. That's a 6% assist rate. That is fine. Lonzo is the one I'm most interested in, although DeRozan's not too far behind. Lonzo, 109 assists in 1,372 possessions. That's an 8% assist rate per possession. That holds. DeMar's is also 8, which based on what I'm seeing here is going to be really, really close. 103 and 1,385, so 7.5. Yeah, I think the rest of these rates just hold. We're going to like some Chicago pieces. For Detroit, Cade Cunningham, 6,500 on FanDuel is officially one of the best plays you're going to find today. I think there's a little bit of value in $6,500 Sadiq Bey on FanDuel. Played well yesterday. I actually had him on DraftKings for a little bit. You can get to Diallo or Hayes or Stewart or Josh Jackson. You can roll those dice. $4,900 Trey Lyles on DraftKings is worth a shot, but you just gotta hope you're getting the correct closing lineup right for Detroit. 100 likes, baby. Woo! We there. Now for the Bulls, and maybe I should knock down Levine to 35 and DeMar to 35. Just soften the edges here. But Levine on FanDuel at 7,500 is one of the best plays you're going to find today. The raw point ceiling is just too high for that salary. He's $1,900 more expensive on DraftKings. So you basically go from not really playing him on DraftKings to playing him a ton on FanDuel. Vooch and Lonzo look a little bit better on DK than they do on FanDuel. Nothing too crazy. DeRozan looks fine across both. No real preference on either site. I mean, probably a slight preference on FanDuel, considering he's shooting guard, small forward, which is a farce. He's not a shooting guard. It's so dumb. Lots to like for Chicago there, though. And then we close it out. Late night hammer. Denver Nuggets at the LA Clippers. For the Denver Nugs, I have no idea who's active at this point. They've had guys in and out lately. So no Will Barton, I think I just saw. Which means Jokic's rates go up even higher than they normally do. So let's try to figure this out. First and foremost, one of the easier things that you can do, something that we haven't done all that frequently, if you want to try to get an idea of who's going to play more, like if I take Will Barton off, and I take Michael Porter Jr. off, you can kind of see like who plays the most minutes in those scenarios. Like, that's a really big bump to Campazzo and Rivers and Bones Highland. Like, that's where the minutes eventually trickle. So let's hash this one out. I think we're going to be getting 30 minutes out of Monty Morris. We're clearly going to be getting, you have to think 35 minutes out of Jokic if this one's competitive. Immediately, JaMychal Green gets that backup run. Although he did start at the 4, right? Was that this Sunday? Could also just be because he played Oklahoma City. Yeah, so they did start JaMychal Green alongside of Jokic. Brought Jeff Green off the bench as JaMychal Green's back. Actually, probably as Aaron Gordon's backup. Zeke Naji backed up Jokic. So we'll give those 13 minutes there. We'll go to JaMychal Green. JaMychal Green didn't close. They closed with Austin Rivers. Now, I don't think that has to happen at all. So we're going to say that, JaMychal Green gets about 22 minutes, that Jeff Green gets about 22 minutes. Aaron Gordon is just going to play his standard issue 30. Backup point guard. Morris came off. Campazzo came on. Campazzo was the straight backup point guard. They did not share the floor. They split the 48 minutes and closed with Morris. So, is 28-20 a more realistic scenario here? Probably. I also think that they can play alongside each other. So Will Barton is then out. The question then becomes, who starts? Austin Rivers or Bones Highland? To me, you start Rivers and you want Bones Highland on the second unit. And that makes the most sense to me. So I'm going to go 30 minutes here to Rivers, backup run to Bones Highland. That still leaves us 22 additional minutes for whoever is stepping into more run because of Austin River or because of Will Barton being out. And the guy that makes the most sense in that end is probably Devon Reed, maybe Magruder now that they traded for him. Like, that would make some sense. Which, by the way, I guess I need to deal with right now. Denver, Bol to Detroit. Detroit, Rodney Magruder to Denver. Yeah, I assume Rivers is starting. That piece is easy. But who actually gets the biggest benefit is the tricky part. It could be Devon Reed. It could be Rodney Magruder. You would think they'd want to see some Rodney Magruder. That would make the most sense to me. But I don't want to give Rodney Magruder like this giant chunk of time. But at the same time, I think that I have to. If you're going to trade for him, you want to see him. I think he plays. But I can't give him 22 minutes, and I don't really know who else to give those minutes to. So we're going to give them an 11-man rotation, which is what they played this last time out. 11 of those minutes are going to go to Magruder. 11 of those minutes are going to go to Devon Reed for right now, and I will talk to Adam about that in the strategy show. But the next thing that we have to do here with Will Barton and Michael Porter Jr., let's say not playing. How big of a sample do we actually get of did not play at all? Bigger than you would expect. Jokic with the 36% usage rate in those games, which is just to die for. 35.8. And I bet if I set them to off and to Jokic on, things get really crazy. Jokic playing Barton Porter off the floor. 569 minutes, 33% usage. Okay, so that actually does matter. So we get Jokic up to 35.8% usage. We get Facundo Campazzo is at 17%. That's actually interesting to me. Monty Morris, 237 minutes with no Will Barton. We want to go to the did not play. Wrong link. $35.8 for Jokic. We've got that. Aaron Gordon is at 19. I mean, that guy has the same rates no matter what, apparently. Monty Morris, 20.6. Interesting little bump for him. Austin Rivers has played 51 minutes in games that Will Barton and Michael Porter Jr. didn't play. He just does Austin Rivers things. So the other big piece we really want to get would be assist rate. So let's grab that possession link one more time. Nikola Jokic has 32 assists in 261 possessions. It's a 12.2% assist rate. That is a pretty healthy bump. And from a rebounding perspective, he's got 52 defensive rebounds in 261 possessions. That is a 20% defensive rebounding rate, which I can't totally go to, but I will bump quite a bit. Oh boy, Nikola Jokic looking like a star today. And then we go to the Clippers, closing it out. They could have just about anybody playing today, and I would believe it. And 186 viewers, 100 plus likes. Another great show. Thank you guys for that. So as we look at the Clippers, we have no Paul George like we know. We have no Luke Kennard like we know. Obviously no Kawhi, no Hartenstein, Jason Preston. No Justice Winslow either. That's pretty easy to fix. Clippers should be kind of easy to handle here. We've got Marcus Morris in for 34 minutes. We're going to make that 32. We've got Serge Ibaka in for 20 minutes, evidently. 32 for Reggie Jackson? Maybe. Let's go 30 for Reggie Jackson. Eric Bledsoe. I got 28. Make that 27. $32 for Terrence Mann. That's one of the few things that actually holds. Brandon Boston is playing about 20. Amir Coffey is playing 30, evidently. 28 at the very least. Batum played about 30, so we're going to bump his minutes up to 28. Wenyen Gabriel, I gave minutes. Those can go away. So I have 23 minutes left over for Ivica Zubac, obviously. God, Josh, this couldn't have been more obvious. Zubac goes in for 25. We can take 2 minutes away from somebody. Let's go Brandon Boston just to make it easy. Clippers might have some interesting rates with no Paul George because he's missed a lot of games so far this season. So let's pop Paul George on there. Did not play in the game. They have played 15 games with no Paul George this year. That's a pretty sizable sample. And then just to make it slightly easier, actually, I don't even think it's going to matter if Luke Kennard comes off. He's Luke Kennard. So let's just check and see if anybody gets any sort of crazy usage changes, and then we can pack it in here. Terrence Mann usage 15.9. Eric Bledsoe is at 22.7. That's really where the biggest bump comes, I think. 26 or 25.95 for Marcus Morris. That's actually very important. Nick Batum, 137 minutes, just a 12% usage rate. Nothing crazy there. Reggie Jackson will be an interesting piece. 29.95. Like he's on sale. Serge Ibaka, does he do anything interesting? 21, actually. So Serge and Batum stay. Ivica Zubac, 273, 14.7% usage rate. No real changes there. Amir Coffey, anything there? 14.2. Nah, not really. So I think we're probably pretty good there. Are there any major assist changes? Does anybody look like they take a giant assist bump? Eric Bledsoe might. 73 assists in 765 possessions. 9.5. That feels like a bump. Yeah, it is. That's a big one, too. Does Reggie Jackson do it, too? 700 possessions for Reggie Jackson. 965 for Mann. 7% on Reggie Jackson is actually a bump. That'll probably do it. All right, that's the Clippers. We have made it, guys. We made it through the slate. And it only took an hour and 15 minutes for 6 games. Let's look at this final one. Denver, Nikola Jokic, unquestionably the number one play in today's slate. Just massive, massive, massive. I got him at 1.85 fantasy points per minute here. No Barton. Lock and load. For the Clippers, I like I like Terrence Mann across both sites. I like Reggie Jackson across both sites. I like Bledsoe and Zubac on FanDuel. But let's just run some crunches because I find this slate a bit confusing. Yesterday seemed pretty cut and dry. So let's see what we've got. First one up, FanDuel Optimal. If you haven't hit that like button yet, go ahead and do so. I have Nikola Jokic 17 points ahead of Karl Anthony Towns today on this slate. That is insanity. True insanity. All right, Optimal on FanDuel. By 0.2 of a point, Zach LaVine, Cade Cunningham, Josh Giddey, Eric Bledsoe, DeMar DeRozan, Gary Trent, Scotty Barnes, Jay Crowder, Nikola Jokic. I think Nikola Jokic is going to be in a really big number of lineups here, considering he's a center. And there's only so high that it could actually get. Yeah, look at that. That's how good of a play Nikola Jokic is today. That on a site with only one center, he's in almost more than any other lineup, and he can't be in more than one spot. That's hard to do. And there's only one, not two. Scotty Barnes is my number one play today if he's in. Now, he's had 3 games as of late that haven't been great, but at 5,600, you're looking for 38 to hit your boom. I mean, that's happened 1, 2, 3. Now I know some guys were out here, but even since he's been back, that's happened basically twice. 2 out of his first 4 scores. But when he came back, he was 7,900. Why is he 5,600 now? Makes no sense. Usage is down a little bit, for sure. Not going to read into it too much. I just think Scotty Barnes looks really good. So Barnes is at the top. Jokic and Cade Cunningham are tier 2. Then we've got Josh Giddey, Reggie Jackson, Zach LaVine, Gary Trent, Terrence Mann, Shea, Bay, Wiggins, Ingram, Hart, DeRozan, Anunoby. That's everybody north of 20%. FanDuel's looking good, and I'm playing FanDuel tonight too. S&P, there's no telling, but I doubt it's happening today. Let's check out DraftKings. DraftKings, where Nikola Jokic is the top play by 19 fantasy points. Optimal lineups for DraftKings. We've got Reggie Jackson, Gary Trent, OG Anunoby, Darius Bazley, Nikola Jokic, Desmond Bane, Jay Crowder, Josh Hart. Nothing too crazy there. Bazley's 3,800. You're looking for 30. He can get there. It's the optimal by 3/10. I like it. I mean, the Reggie Jackson piece is a little scary given the minutes are sort of all over the place and he hasn't been good, but $5,800 Reggie Jackson is a lot different than 70-something hundred. So let's check out the power rankings now on DK. The moral of this story is, holy shit, Nikola Jokic. Here we go. $250 lineups done. DraftKings is ultra flat. No one's separating from the pack, and I think that Jokic might just be a bit too expensive to cleanly get to so far. So Josh Hart, Reggie Jackson, Brandon Ingram, Gary Trent, they're the only guys that showed up in more than 20%. We've got Desmond Bane, Devontae Graham, OG Anunoby, Terrence Mann, Lou Dort, Herb Jones, Jay Crowder, Joe Val, Lonzo, Josh Giddey. Morning coffee. Justin Sports, these are all my projections. Yeah, center's just going to be a little bit flatter because you can easily get to like Joe Val's 8,500. Similar value to Jokic. It's just the raw point ceiling is so massive. I like it. I like it. One last time, let's hit up Yahoo now. Hey, to be fair, Justin Sports, a lot of the other optimizers in the industry do a very shitty job of projecting their minutes overnight. I say that as someone that looks at them every single day. Most people put people in that they shouldn't. Most people don't give the right minutes across the board. Sometimes those things don't get fixed all the way through the day. Not naming names. All right, FanDuel. Or sorry, Yahoo Optimal. Yahoo Optimal. Campaign D'Angelo Russell. There's no value out there today. Campaign D'Angelo Russell, Reggie Jackson, Scotty Barnes, Nick Batum, Andrew Wiggins, Joe Val, and Jokic. That's wild. 0.3 of a point. You drop down, swap out Russell for Cade. Power rankings on Yahoo before we close it out. Another one in the books. What's the NBA schedule look like tomorrow? We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 games tomorrow. Then remember, I am off on Thursday. No show for this 5-gamer. Other than missing Bucks Warriors, I'm okay with it. And then we're back again on Friday for another 9-gamer. And keep your eyes peeled for some content from me on Saturday or potentially Sunday. I've got the house to myself, so maybe we'll play a little bit more NBA. All right, Yahoo. Back to normal. Nikola Jokic at the top. Reggie Jackson, Andrew Wiggins, Nick Batum, D'Angelo Russell, Terrence Mann, Joe Val, Josh Giddey. That's everybody out north of 20. Too many guys north of 15 to keep going. So that is Yahoo. And that, my friends, is it. Run the hands through the luscious bedhead locks for today. Thank you guys for being here. It's another great process show in the books. One of these days, on like maybe once the NFL season's over, maybe like mid-February, we'll do a process show redux. Hop back in the middle of the day. This is going to be an interesting slate. The Jokic piece is real. Now, I expect that I have Jokic projected a little bit higher than most people. But 1.85 FanDuel points per minute is the mark that I have right now in 35 minutes for Jokic today with no Barton and no MPJ, obviously. Denver is the 23rd fastest team in the league. The Clippers are 15th. So it's not even like they're getting some massive boost in pace. But the Nuggets want to win this game. They have a 93% chance. That is now a 93% chance to make the playoffs. Like, they need this. So, and if you do it based on ELO, it's 87. So, like, Jokic is going to play 35 minutes in a competitive game and smash. So, get yourself your Nikola Jokic if you can. And hit that like button if you haven't done it. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. We're done here, everybody. Strategy show in a bit. 3 contenders videos. And then that is it for me. No lie before lock. Keep your eyes peeled to my Twitter for updates to my Sims as we get closer to lock. Good luck tonight, everybody. Get that paper. It was a good rise and grind. This is the process.